Good morning, students. Today, before starting with the syllabus, I want to give you all the overview of the syllabus, that is PLC and SCADA. Before that, let me introduce myself. I am Professor Nagaraj Aiholli, Department of Electrical Engineering, and I will be handling the subject PLC and SCADA for you all. Today, we will be dealing with the overview of the syllabus. Now, the name is PLC and SCADA. It's an open elective, PLC and SCADA, right? Now, what is PLC? There are two terms here. One is PLC, another one is SCADA. Now, the full form of PLC is Programmable Logic Controller. Full form of PLC is Programmable Logic Controller. Am I visible, students? Am I visible to you all? Yes? Are you able to see my face? Yes, students? Sir. Okay, right. Thank you. So the full form of PLC is Programmable Logic Controller, right? And this PLC, it is the computer system. It's a computer architecture system that deals with controlling the industrial parameters. So it is mainly meant, it's a architecture similar to the computer architecture, but it is meant to handle the or control the industrial parameters. The industrial parameters may be pressure, right? Or it may be a hydraulic signal, right? Various different types of signals in the industry are controlled by the programmable logic controllers. Now, the meaning of programmable logic controller, programmable, we'll take up step by step. Programmable means you can store any conditions, whatever you want to check, whatever you want to control in the memory of the PLC, right? You can store in the whatever you want to control, that logic or that operation, whatever you are controlling, that you have to store in the memory of this PLC, programmable logic controller. So what is a memory? Memory is a nothing but a unit which stores the data. All right, memory is the unit, it's a block which stores the data. Fine. Now, once the logic, whatever you want to control, or the data, whatever you want to control, that is stored in the memory, then according to the applied input signal, the PLC is going to control the output, or it is going to monitor the output. So that is what we call as the programmable logic controller, PLC, right? Programmable means you can program the controller as per your requirement. You can handle it according to our requirement, user requirement. You can store the data, okay, and then we can control the various parameters, industrial parameters. Fine. So that is the one part, that is PLC. Then come to the next one, that is SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. Supervisory control and data acquisition. So the name itself suggests that or indicates that supervisory. So what it means by supervisory? Supervisory means supervision, to supervise the signals, industrial parameters. Then C stands for controlling, control. So to control the various signals or to monitor the various signals. And data acquisition, A stands for and, D for data, and A for acquisition, and data acquisition. That means it not only monitors, it not only controls the data, but it also acquires the data. Okay, it also acquires the data and then it stores in the memory. It stores in the memory. It is called a scanning process. It stores in the memory, and then this storing of data in the memory is called a scanning process, and then it performs the operation on the data, whatever is required, the controlling operation, and then it sends that controlling signal to the various industrial equipments, industrial manufacturing equipments, whatever you want to control. Okay, so this is what is called as the supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA. Fine. Now it has the internal marks of 40. This you are very much familiar, right? The 18 scheme, and semester and examination 60 marks, exam 3 hours. You are familiar with these things. Its subject code is 18W652. Note the subject code 18W652. Then before going into the syllabus, you have to know why you have to study this subject, or what are the objectives of this subject. First one is to explain advantages, disadvantages, main parts. So what are the advantages of PLCs? What are the disadvantages of PLC? Then what are the different parts of PLC? We'll see that later, the block diagram of PLC. Then the function of PLC, what is the function that is performed by the programmable logic controller. Basic sequence of operation of PLC. That's what I told. Its sequence of operation is first, the power supply is turned on. Then second, the data, whatever you want to control, is stored in the memory by the input device. Then whatever you want to control, that is controlled by the data stored in the memory through the output device. It is controlling the output parameter or the output signal. Like it may be a pressure signal, it may be a hydraulic signal, it may be a process variable, a controlling variable, whatever it may be, the different parameters are controlled. So that is what we call as the sequence of operation of PLC. Then to describe the hardware components, the hardware components of PLC are input output modules. I/O stands for input output. I for input, O for output. Input output modules. So there are input modules to input the data into the PLC, and then the controlling value or the controlling data is sent through the output device to the equipment or to the machine that you want to control. That is done by the output module. Then CPU, stands for central processing unit. CPU is central processing unit. So these are the blocks of the PLC. Whatever I'm giving the overview here, the I/O module, CPU, memory devices, these are all the blocks of PLC. CPU is, as you know, CPU is also the part of computer. So it is a central processing unit. It performs the various processing operations. The processing operations may be data manipulation, that is such as transferring the data from one register to another register, right? Or from one place to another place. Or it may be addition of data or subtraction of data, multiplication, division. All those processing operations are done by this central processing unit. You are very much familiar with this CPU. Then memory devices. Memory devices, there are two types of memory. One is the program memory, another one is the data memory. Program memory stores the program, right? Just you have studied the C language in your first year level, is it not? So that program, whatever you're writing here, the programming that we are using is ladder diagram, not the C program. Okay. So it is similarly, I'm comparing and I'm explaining to you all, right? So the ladder diagram, whatever is the programming language that we are using here, that we are storing in the memory, and accordingly it will execute and control the devices. Then other supporting devices, such as it may be peripheral devices, the devices which are connected to the end part of the PLC. Those are called as the graphical user interfaces or support devices, such as it may be a mobile device. Okay, it may be a mobile where you can check the various parameters, or you can display the values on the mobile, on the cell phone, right? So such types of support devices we are also going to study here. And functions of PLC memory map. Memory map is nothing but the organization of the memory. How is the memory organized? What is the structure of the memory? Where the values are stored? In which memory location the values are stored? Right? So all those details we are studying in this PLC memory map. Then third objective is to describe program scan sequence. That is the same thing what I discussed here, basic sequence of operation of PLC, program scan sequence, the communication of information to the PLC, how we are communicating the data to the PLC through the input device using different languages. So there are three types of languages here, basically, which are very much familiar, right? And popular ones. The first one is the ladder diagram. The second one is function body diagram. Then third one is functional chart. These three are the most popular languages that are used to write the program for the PLCs. Followed here. Are you following here, students? Yes, please. Students, are you following here? Are you following me? Yes? Yes, please. Students, are you following here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there is any doubt or anything to be asked, please interrupt me in between, and I will answer to your questions. Okay. All right. Can stop me at any time, in between or at the end of the class. Anytime you can interrupt me and you can interact with me. Okay. Let's make the discussion interactive one. Fine. To explain identification of common operating modes found in PLCs. There are various modes of operation of PLC. The mode in which the PLC operates or it functions, such as, say, there is one mode called as run mode. Run mode means the program, whatever is stored in the memory, that is executed, just like how you are executing the C program. right? Using the compiler, you are executing the C program, you are running the C program, right? That is run mode, right? Similarly, there are other modes of operation, right, which are for the PLCs, right? Then we'll see the writing and entering the ladder logic programs, how to enter the ladder programs, how to execute them, and how to control the devices. To define the functions of relays, you are familiar, you may be familiar, I hope. The relay is nothing but a electrical device, right, wherein you are applying the electrical signal. The electrical signal which is in one part of the circuit is controlling the opening and closing of the other part of the circuit. Okay, so relay is a switch, it's an electrical device, right? So when the current passes through the input circuit, right, and this electrical signal is going to control the on and off of the other part of the relay circuit, that is on and off, turning on and off. It's a switch. Okay, then contactors is an advanced type of relays. So in relays, you can the current capacity is about, say, around 10 to 15 amperes, but in the contactors the current handling capacity is around thousands of amperes. So that is the huge capacity, current handling capacity that the contactor is having to control the that is the current that is making the parameter to control is very large in contactors. Then motor starters, to start the motor, right? Motor we have studied, right? It's a device which converts the electrical signal into mechanical signal. Then if we want to start these motors, there are various types. So one method is we are using, say, a star delta starter, star connection, delta connection you have studied in your electrical, basic electrical in your first year level, or you are using a auto transformer which has a single winding, primary and secondary winding are the same to control the or to start the motor. So there are various ways of starting the motor. We'll go through them in detail. Switches, there are various types of switches such as push button switch. That is just like an on off switch, right? What you're operating in your day-to-day life, right? Just like a push button, you're pushing the switch and the light is turned on. So that is your push button switch. Then there is another type of switch called as limit switch. Limit switch is based on the current limit, right? It is going to turn on and off the equipment or the appliances. That is called as the limit switch. Then sensors. Sensors may be a pneumatic sensor, a hydraulic sensor, a level sensor, right? Liquid sensor, liquid level sensor. So various types of sensors are available in the industry to sense the parameters. Output control devices to control the output signal. There are devices such as transistors, relays, which control the output signal. Then seal-in circuits. Seal-in circuits. So this seal-in circuits is when the push button is operated, push button switch, right? The electrical switch, push button on-off switch, what you're operating in day-to-day life in your houses, right? When you operate that, such a switch, push button switch, then once you release it, okay, you're pressing the switch and you're releasing it. Okay, so when you release that, the current may not hold. When you are pressing the switch, the current holds and passes in the circuit. But when you are releasing the switch, there is an opening of the switch again. So because of this, what is happening is the current is not flowing in the circuit. So to handle these, that is the current not flowing when the push button is released, circuits are used called as seal-in circuits and latching relays to latch the data or to latch the current once the switch is released. Okay, so we are going to study them also, seal-in circuits and latching relays. Next, to explain conversion of relay schematics into PLC ladder logic programs, that is before the invention of the PLC. This PLC was first time invented in the year 1960s by the company called as Modicon. So this Modicon invented the PLC in the year 1960s. Before the invention of the PLC, the relays were used to control the industrial parameters. So as we know that the relay is an electrical device, it requires wiring, correct? So this was the disadvantage in the relay circuits. So to overcome this disadvantage of the wiring, they invented what are called as programmable logic controllers or the PLCs. That is how the PLCs came into existence. And writing PLC programs directly from narrative descriptions. To explain the functions of PLC counter instructions, that is counter. You might have studied in your electronic subject, basic electronic subject in your first year level. Counter you might have studied. If you have not studied also, I'll explain that. Counter is nothing but which counts. Right? There are various types of counters. Up counter, which counts from say from 0000 to 1111 binary. So that is 0 to 15. It is called as up counter. Then down counter is, it counts in the downward direction. That is from 15 to 0, 1111 to 0000. So such counters we are going to study. Then apply combinations of counters and timers to control the systems. What is a timer? Timer is to maintain the timing. We all have the clocks in our homes, is it not? So these clocks, based on this clock and timing, we manage our day-to-day activities, right? So such of the timers which control the timing of various operations are available in this subject. Then to describe the functions of selectable timed interrupt and fault routine files. Timed interrupts. I'll give an example. Say you are writing in the class and your friend asks you a pen. So he wants a pen from you. So he will ask you a pen. Okay, that is called as interrupting. Followed here. So interrupting means you are writing something and your friend is asking you a pen, to give him a pen. Okay, so this is called as interruption. So the person who is writing something is interrupted. Correct. So such interrupts are helpful in controlling certain devices. Based on controlling the timing of this interrupt, say your friend is writing, say you are asking the pen, say after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you don't require immediately, right? You are listening in the class, then you ask him the pen, say after 10 minutes you want to write some points, right? So that is called as timed interrupts. You are timing the interrupt process, you're timing the interrupting process. Okay. And fault routine files. Whenever you turn on the PLC, it goes through certain checks, just like how the computer goes through diagnostic checks. So when you turn on the computer, first it checks itself whether all the values are initialized or not, whether the values are properly in the proper memory locations or not. It goes through those steps, is it not? You are seeing on the screen when you turn on the computer, all those options will come, right? Then finally it will start, right? So those are nothing but what are called as the diagnostic checks. Similarly, here also in the PLC, it performs certain checking processes. It checks for the faults at the beginning when you turn on the PLC. To explain the execution of data transfer instructions. To transfer the data from one memory location to another memory location, or it may be transferring of the data from one register to another register. Right? You're transferring the data, you're moving the data. They are called as data transfer instructions. For example, there is one instruction called as MOV, move instruction. So this move instruction, it transfers the data, it copies the data from one memory location to another memory location. Okay. So such instructions are called data transfer instructions. Interruption of data transfer, you're interrupting the transfer of the data. And data compare instructions. What do you mean by comparing, students? Can you tell me? What do you mean by comparing? Comparing means what? You have studied programs in your C language. Comparing, what do you mean by comparing? Can anybody tell me? What is meant by comparing? C-O-M-P-A-R-E, compare. What is meant by that? Right? Anybody can tell me? Compare. Yes, please. Anybody can answer. What is meant by comparing? You are comparing your value with some reference value, is it not? You are comparing your value with certain reference value, and you check whether your value is greater than the reference value, it is smaller than the reference value, or it is equal to the reference value. That is simple. What is called as comparing. Correct? You check whether the value that you are having, whatever is your value, you are comparing with the reference value, and you check the data, whatever you are having, that is whether greater than the reference value, or it is equal to the reference value, or it is less than the some standard reference value. Fine. So such compare instructions are there in this subject. Today explain the basic operation of PLC closed loop control system. There are two types of system. One is called as open loop system. Another one is called as closed loop system. Open loop system means the output that you are obtaining, you are applying the input to the system and you are obtaining the output. Correct? This is simple. This is open loop. Now, when you apply the output, whatever you are getting back to the input to control the error, in the output, you're not getting the output according to the requirement. So you are controlling, you are applying the output signal back to the input, circuit, so that whatever error is there, that is reduced. Okay, you are minimizing the error, you are decreasing the error in the signal, so that whatever output value you are getting is accurate. So this is called as closed loop control system. Closed loop control system, open loop control system and closed loop control system. Various forms of mechanical sequencers. So these sequencers are meant to sequence the output operations. You are sequencing. The name itself are self-explanatory here. Sequencing means you are controlling the sequence. Say you are sending one output. Then if you want to send the second output from the same system, the controlling output from the same system, you are waiting for say some 10 minutes and you are sending the second output. Then again you are waiting for say some 10 minutes, sending the third output. Okay, so this is called as sequencing the output. So such mechanical sequencers or circuits are available to make the sequencing of the output operations. To describe the operation of bit and word shift registers, there are certain instructions which operate on single bit. You studied in digital circuit. Bit may be either 0 or 1. It can have only two values. Bit can be either a 0 value or a 1, either a low or a high. So there are certain instructions which operate on single bit. There are certain instructions which operate on word. Okay. So byte means it is 8 bit. Similarly, a word may be any number of bits. Okay, multiple bits on which the controlling operation takes place. So bit and word shift registers. The meaning of the shift register. Shifting. Again, it is very simple. Shifting. You are applying the input. You are shifting that input to the output. Simple. That is called as shifting. Say now first time you are applying a 1, bit 1. You are shifting that to the output. So you got the 1 at the output. Second time you are applying a 0. You are applying a 0. That you are shifting. Then you are getting a 0 at the output. Correct? That is, you are shifted 0 at the output. So such shifting of the input data to the output is called as shift register. It is done by the shift registers for shifting the input to the output. There are various types of shift registers, right? To perform the shifting, it may be serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, or parallel in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out. Serial in, serial out means you are applying the input serially and you're getting the output also serially. Serial in, parallel out means you're applying the input serially, but the output is in parallel form. Suppose say you sent the data first 1, then you send the second data as 0. Okay, so you're sending the data sequentially, one bit after the another bit. But when it is obtained at the output, all the bits, now whatever the data you sent is first 1, then 0, then in the third clock cycle, in the third operation, all that is the 2 bits 0 and 1 are available at one instant. That is called as parallel output. Similarly, you are having parallel in, serial out. You are applying the inputs parallelly to all the flip-flops, at a stretch at one instant. Then you are getting the output serially, one after the another. That is parallel in, serial out. Parallel in, parallel out, you are applying all the inputs at a stretch at the same time. You are inputting the data to D flip-flops or to any of the flip-flops, and the output whatever you are getting is in parallel. So it requires only 2 clock cycles, 2 operations. One is the shifting of the data in, parallel in, then immediately in the next clock cycle only, in the next operation only, all the data bits will be available in parallel at a stretch at one instant. It is parallel in, parallel out. And develop programs that use shift registers. To discuss the operation of various processes, so there are various processes, right? which are controlled by the PLCs, structures of control systems. So the control system has its own structure, has its own organization. We'll go through that, and the method of communication between different industrial processes. How does the data communicate with the remote device? Right now, in the industry, there is internet boom. So because of this internet boom, there is a plenty of opportunity to send the data wireless transmission. Without using the wire to transmit the signal from the transmitting end to the receiving end, we can transmit the data through the wireless communication. Okay, so that is happening because of the internet boom in the today's world. So which are the different modules here? Module 1, I'll quickly go through this. I already have explained above here. I'll just quickly glance through the different modules. Programmable logic controllers, their introduction, parts of PLC, operating of the PLC, principle of operation, modifying the operation, how to change it, PLCs versus computers. Now, what is the difference between PLC and the computer? Right? The computer is nothing but it is event driven. Event driven means now you are applying certain inputs, right? And you are getting the output. That is, say there is certain process that is taking place, and that is making the input to make available at the output. So whereas in the PLCs, what is happening is there is a program that is stored in the memory. You have to download the program, right? And then you have to control the output. Okay, so that is one point. Another point is in the programming language, the computers use the low level language such as C language or C++, right? Whereas PLCs use the ladder diagram or the functional body diagram or the functional chart representation. So these are the few points regarding the PLC versus computers. We'll go through in detail later. PLC size and application. What is the size of the PLC and its application? PLC hardware components, the input-output section, discrete I/O modules, that is the digital I/O modules, analog input-output modules. Analog is a continuous signal. It's a continuous signal. It's a waveform. Whereas discrete, it has only zeros and ones. Special I/O modules, there are certain special modules for performing certain sophisticated operations. So we'll see them. I/O specifications, input-output specifications of the PLC, central processing unit, memory design, right? Memory types, programming terminal devices, that is the external devices whatever are connected to the PLC. We are controlling those devices, programming terminal devices, recording and retrieving the data. We are recording the data, and whenever we want the data, we are reading from the memory of the PLC. Human machine interfaces, that's what we discussed. Basics of PLC programming, processor memory organization, program scan, PLC programming languages, relay type instructions. What is a relay? We have seen it's a switch, electrical device. The electrical signal in one part of the circuit controls the on and off of the other part of the circuit. Instruction addressing, that is the way in which the values are stored in the different registers and memory locations. That is called as instruction addressing. I hope you are following here, students. Any doubts up till now? Students, any questions, any doubts up till now? Are you following here? Yes, please. Students? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Are you? Okay, fine. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Branch instructions. So to branch, the name again is branching. Branching means jumping. Jumping from one instruction in the program to some other instruction in the program. That is called as branching. Jump instructions. Internal relay instructions. To control the relay, we are using certain instructions. Programming examine if closed and examine if open instruction. We are writing the program to check if the switch is closed or if it is open. So that is programming if closed and examine if open instruction. Enter the ladder diagram. Sorry, enter the ladder diagram. Modes of operation. Modes of operation. Then module 2, developing fundamental PLC wiring diagrams and ladder logic programs. Electromagnetic control relays, contactors we discussed. It's an advanced relay. Motor starters, various types of starting of the motor. Manually operated switches. I give the example of push button switch, limit switches. Mechanically operated switches. There are certain switches that is nothing but the manually operated switches only, push button switches and the limit switches. There are few switches which are electronic switches, right? If I compare them with the electronic switches, so electronic switches are like which are using the transistors, the MOSFET, which you have studied in your first year level in your basic electronics. So such types of switches which are making use of transistors or MOSFET, they are called as electronic switches. Sensors, output control devices, seal-in circuits, latching relays, converting relay schematics into PLC ladder diagrams, that is on and off of the relay, is shown in the form of a symbol representation, a symbol representation, which is the PLC ladder diagram. Okay, it's called as ladder diagram because the instructions are in the form of a ladder. They are symbolic based, symbol based. Okay, that's why it is called as PLC ladder programming or ladder diagrams. Writing a ladder logic program directly from a narrative description. Programming timers, mechanical timing relays, timer instructions, on delay timer instruction, how to turn on certain operations by maintaining the timing. That's what I give the example. You are asking, say, a pen to your friend, you are asking, say, after a time interval of 10 minutes. You're not asking immediately. So that's a on delay timer. Suppose if you want to turn off the operation, say, controlling signal, if you want to turn off, say, after 20 minutes, then that also is possible by the off delay timer instructions. Then retentive timers. So similar types of operation is performed by the retentive timers, cascading timers. So these timers are connected in cascade, just like a bogie of a train. How the bogies of a train are connected in a similar way, the timers are connected in cascade, right? To control the sequencing of the operations, to control the sequencing of the output signal. Module 3, programming counters, counter instructions, up counter, down counter, cascading the counters, connecting the counters one after another, just like the bogies of a train. Incremental encoder, that is converting the analog signal to digital signal, that is what is nothing but the encoder. Counter applications, combining counter and timer functions. If you are counting the number of events, say if it is a conveyor belt, you might have seen some of the videos or you might have seen on television the bottle filling, water bottle filling system, right? How it goes, the conveyor belt is moving, it is rotating, and the bottle capping is taking place, the capping of the bottles, correct? So that is, you're counting the number of bottles, right? So that is how you are performing the counting operation. Now if you want to count the number of the number of items or the bottles here, you are maintaining certain time interval between the counting process. Say one bottle you are counting, and in the counting of the next bottle you are maintaining a timing of say 2 seconds or 5 seconds. That is called as timer operation, timing the counting process. That means you are using the counting process and you are also using the timer operation, both at the same time, simultaneously. Combining counter and timer functions, program control instructions, master control reset instruction. Reset is the instruction which stops all the activities of the PLC. Right? It stops all the activities of the PLC. That is called as the reset instruction. Jump instruction, I told that is nothing but the branching instruction. Subroutine functions. Subroutine is set of instructions which are performing the same task many number of times. You're writing subroutines in C language, just like functions what you're writing in C language, is it not? So those functions, what it will do, that function, say you're writing a program to add two values, you're calling in the main program the function to add the two values a and b, values stored in two variables a and b. Then in the called function, what it will do, it will execute that function and it will return the value back to the main program. Am I right? It will return the value back to the main program. So that is nothing but how the function is operating repeatedly. You are maintaining the index variable. For example, if you are using a for loop, right, that iterates or it repeats for many number of times, right? So like that, you are controlling or you are counting your say executing the same instructions many number of times. So such of the instructions are called subroutines. Immediate input and immediate output instructions. that is input and output instructions, forcing external IO addresses, right? You are say there is a particular memory location where the few data may be stored for the PLC to check itself, right? So in that memory location, if the IO addresses, the memory locations are not mentioned, there is a memory location, right? So say there is one memory location which is storing the value, say 10. The value 10 is stored in the one of the memory location, memory, which stores the value. Okay. Now in that memory location, if the address is not mentioned, I don't know where it is stored. So then that is not creating any problem here. That is what we call as forcing the external IO addresses. It is not cause any problems because the circuit is like that. It will handle the circuits in such a way that even though the address is not known, there is no problem caused by the circuit. Safety circuit. So the meaning is very much clear here. Safety, that is whenever there is any emergency condition, whenever there is any emergency condition, you want to turn off the PLC. Right? So such of the circuits which turns off the PLC because of the faults that are occurring in the circuit, they are called as safety circuits. Selectable timed interrupt, fault timed interrupt. Okay, fault routine, that is the routine which is controlling the fault. Temporary end instruction, which is meant to debug the program. You know the debugging process, removing the errors, that is done by the temporary end instruction. Suspend instruction, which is used to temporarily suspend the instructions and go from one instruction to some other instructions. Okay, the jump takes place from one instruction to some other instruction, and that is done by the suspend instruction. Okay. Next, module 4, data manipulation instructions. Data manipulation, that is move instruction, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, all those data manipulation. Data transfer operations, data compare instructions, manipulation programs, numerical data input output interfaces, closed loop control. Then mathematical instructions, that's what I mentioned here. Mathematical instructions such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, other word level mathematical instructions. Word level means which operate on many bits. Bit level instructions means which the instructions which perform the operation on only one bit, single bit. It is called as bit level instruction. If the instruction is performing operation on many bits at a time, then it is called as word level instruction. And if such many words are there, it is a very large file, huge data, then that is called as the file. File arithmetic operations. Module 5, sequencer and shift register instructions, mechanical sequencers, sequencer instructions to sequence the output operations, sequencer programs, bit shift registers, left shift, right shift may be there, right? You're shifting the data serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, parallel in, serial out, and parallel in, parallel out. Word shift operations, right? The shifting process takes place on many bits at a time. Process control, that is network systems and SCADA. So you're coming to the SCADA part here. Types of processes, various types of processes. Structure of control systems. What is the structure of the control system? That's what I discussed when giving the objectives. That is the two types of control system, open loop and closed loop. On-off control, PID control, you may be familiar, proportional integrative derivative control, proportional integrative derivative control, PID control, motion control to control the movement of various objects, data communications to communicate the data, supervisory control and data acquisition, that is the SCADA. Then once you study all this, you will be able to discuss history of PLC, that we'll see later, and describe the hardware components of PLC, IO module, CPU, memory devices, support devices, modes, and PLC programming, field devices, that is relays, contactors, starters, switches, sensors, output control devices, ceiling circuits, latching relays, analyze PLC timer and counter ladder logic programs, and describe the operation of different program control instructions. Discuss the execution of data transfer instructions, compare instructions, and basic operation of PLC closed loop control system. Describe the operation of mechanical sequencers, bit and word shift registers, processes, and structure of control systems and communication between the processes. Then we are familiar with the question paper pattern. It will have 10 questions. Each full question is for 20 marks. right? There will be total 10 questions. Each full question is for 20 marks. So there will be 2 full questions with a maximum of 3 sub questions in one full question. So in one from each model there will be 2 full questions, and in each question there may be a maximum of 3 sub questions, A, B, C. Question number 1 A, B, C, or question number 2 A, B, C. Each full question with sub questions will cover the contents under a module. So you should not take it like question number 1 will come from first half of the module, question number 2 will come from the second half of the first module or that module. It is not like that. It is mixed. Okay, the second half few part they may ask in question 1, and the first part few information, few answers they may ask in question number 2, right? So it is mixed pattern. Students will have to answer 5 full questions, selecting 1 full question from each module. Then coming to the textbooks, first one is Programmable Logic Controllers by Frank T. Petruzella, right? It is by McGraw-Hill, 4th edition, 2011. Reference books are Programmable Logic Controllers and Engineer's Guide by E.A. Purr, Nunes publication, 3rd edition, 2013. And last one is Introduction to Programmable Logic Controllers by Gary Dunning, Cengage Learning, 3rd edition, 2006. So the soft copy of these books are available. I will share with you all the soft copy of the books, right? So students, any doubts here, any questions in this syllabus overview? Before continuing, I want to interact. Is there any doubts here? Any questions you want to ask? Yes, please. You want to ask any questions? Yes, Amrut. Any questions? Amrut Kubsad. Prasad Hiremat.
Sir, no doubt.
No doubt. Fine. Vinayak Godi. Yes, please. Any doubts here? Vinayak?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Enoch D'Souza. Yes, please.
No, sir. No doubts.
Clear with the today's discussion overview? Understood the few points, whatever we discussed, what is PLC, what is SCADA, then how it is different from computer. Any questions you can ask, whatever comes to your mind. If you are having any doubts, if you want to interact, you can ask. Chetan Patil. Chetan.
Yes, sir.
Chetan Patil.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Chetan?
No, sir.
Understood the today's discussion. Okay. So you want me to continue here? I have few PPTs to share with you all. Shall I continue here? Yes, students. Shall I continue? I have a few PPTs, around 20 slides are there. Students?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I'll continue.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Yes. Are you able to see the PPT here, slide here, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, before coming to PLC and SCADA, we have to know what is automation. You all are familiar here by the term automation, right? In the branch of mechanical engineering, you know what is automation. So it's a technique or a method or system to control the different devices automatically. We are monitoring or we are controlling, we are operating automatically by automatic means and ways, and with a reduced or decreased human intervention. The human beings interference is less. Human being interference is less, and we are controlling everything automatically. That is what we call as automation. It is done automatically but not manually. Now, to give few examples here, space application. Now the rover or the satellite which is being launched into the space, it may take the samples of soil when it lands on the Mars or when it lands on the various other planets, right? On the moon, it may collect few soil samples. So that is nothing but done automatically. Without the human being, it may be unmanned vehicle. That is now what they are planning, right? And to a certain extent, they are successful also. Unmanned vehicles, they are sending on various other planets. Unmanned means without the human being involved or being moving from one place to another place. Home appliances, robots, right? Robots, when you want to clean the floor, then the robots clean the floors, right? They don't bother about the direction. The direction is taken care by the motors that are involved in the robots, right? And based on this, they are sweeping or they are cleaning the floor. So that is one example in the home appliances. Self-driving vehicle, you are driving a car, right? And it is, say, nowadays, you know that the cars are coming with auto gear system, correct? Auto gear system. Auto gear means you don't require the gear to be operated manually. Automatically, the gear will be applied. That is auto gear system. So in one such car or a self-driving vehicle, there are various automation levels. The first level, if you place your gear in the first level, then it is manual. It is manual operation. You can operate it manually. You can change the gear system manually. If you keep it in the third mode, say it is automatic, but the speed is less. Automatic, but speed is less, little bit less. When you take to the level 5, when you put the gear to the 5th level, right, it is fully automatic. Fully automatic in the sense the speed is very high. Okay, so such systems or vehicles are available nowadays, and they are already planning to go for unmanned vehicles without the human intervention. Also, that is also being planned, right? So that is one example I am giving here. Then hospitality events processing. That is, say you want to book a room in a hotel or in a restaurant. You want to book a room in a lodge. Right? Now you do it with your mobile, your database through internet. You book the room, right? And as you enter the lodge, automatically the front door of the lodge opens by itself. There is nobody who is operating that door, but it opens up by itself automatically. It is all automatic process. So that is one example. So it is all done by the database, which is maintained software system, which is controlling the operation of the door, on and off of the door. That is one example of the automation industry. Smart homes, you might have heard of smart homes. It is home automation, wherein suppose say you have kept a carton of milk in the refrigerator, in your fridge, right? And suppose if that carton of milk is expired, if its date is barred, then it will indicate a siren indicating that the carton of milk or the packet of milk is expired. So such types of home automations are available, and you are controlling the on and off of the light system, the lights, electrical lights, not by switches but by voice command. Suppose you say on, the light should be turned on. When you say off, the light should be turned off. That is the advanced level of the automation. Self-healing. Example of self-healing is you are having mobile phones. Most of you possess mobile phones, right? And suppose say if your screen is damaged, if there's a crack on your screen, then there is a self-healing process which takes place. The cracks gets fixed or it heals up, right, automatically. If there's a crack, immediately it takes certain time to heal up or the crack is fixed. Crack is fixed means the crack will be overcome within certain time. So that is one example of automation. In the boiler system, you are heating the water or a certain liquids or fluids to a certain level, and then you want to automatically turn it off. That is done by the relay system. The contactors, they will act, and immediately once that certain level is reached, the boiler will be turned off. The heating process of the liquid or the fluid is turned off after a certain set point is reached. You might have heard of set point in your mechanical engineering. Set point, once it is reached, then the boiler will automatically cut off. What are the advantages of automation? So increased output, throughput is more, productivity is more, accuracy is more because the machines are involved, automatic operation, increase is more, right? Reliability is more, quality is more, and robustness, the strength of the product that is manufactured by the automatic devices, automation devices, or the whatever they are controlling, the robustness is very high, the strength is very high, they are rugged. Okay. Increase consistency of output, the output is consistent, it is not like fluctuating, once it is high, another time it is low, another time it goes intermediate. It is not like that. Output is consistent, it is maintained consistent. Human labor costs are reduced. So there is no human intervention. Human beings are not involved. Everything is done automatically. So the labor cost of the human beings is decreased. Some more advantages: relieves humans of repetitive work. Suppose say a person, a layman is working in the industry and is manufacturing certain parts of a machine. Then say at in one day, suppose say he is manufacturing say around 10 parts. Just let us take an example. But the same parts being manufactured by the machine, it may go around to 30 parts in one day. So that is the efficiency, high level efficiency of the automation industry. Not only it controls the various signals, but the maintenance work and the operation of automated processes all are done by the automation industry. Even the maintenance process also carried out. Then now the human beings activity is reduced, automation is taking place, right? What the human beings can do then? Human beings can concentrate on some other jobs, on some other tasks. The automation is carrying out some process. Human beings are relieved and they can do some other jobs, some other processes. Is it not? So that is increased human freedom to do the other things. These are few advantages of the automation. Now, even though there are advantages, there are certain disadvantages of the automation. What are the disadvantages of the automation then? Can anybody tell me? Point out the disadvantage here. What may be the disadvantage of the automation industry? Anybody suggest? Any one disadvantage of the automation industry? Yes?
Unemployment.
Very good. Very good. Fantastic. So unemployment, it leads to unemployment because the machines are performing the functions performed by the human beings. Okay, the manufacturing functions performed by the human beings. So the unemployment will increase. High cost, automation machines are involved, cost will be more. Faster production, even though production is faster, throughput is more, but still there may be certain defective parts which may be unidentified by the machines. The machines may not be possible to identify the defects in the parts that they have manufactured. So that is one disadvantage of the automation industry. Now coming to the components of automation, we saw the overview of the syllabus. What is PLC? What is SCADA? Right? Then one more is field instrument. So all these are parts of automation. All these are components of automation. Following here. So what is PLC then? PLC is hardware oriented controlling. The hardware will perform the controlling of the various industrial signals. Then what is SCADA? Supervisory control and data acquisition. The software based controlling of the various industrial parameters. Okay. One is PLC, hardware oriented or hardware based controlling of the signals. SCADA is software based controlling of the signals, industrial parameters. Then last one is field instruments. Field instruments are the instruments which sense the signal. They sense the signal. Okay. They do not monitor or they do not control. Controlling is done by the PLC and SCADA, but the field instrument, they just sense the input signal, whatever is being applied. They just measure or sense the input signal that is being applied. What is SCADA then? SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It is a type of process control system architecture. It's a type of architecture that uses human intelligence, certain intelligence, okay, computers, communication equipments, right, and graphical user interfaces or human machine interfaces to see that a high level supervisory management and control is taking place, right? So it is a type of architecture which combines the human machine interface, the communication equipment, the computers, the data communication, all these are combined to see that a high level of monitoring is taking place, a high level of supervising the various operations, industrial operations is taking place. And moving on to the block diagram of SCADA. What is a SCADA? How it looks like? Which are the different blocks in the SCADA? As I mentioned in the overview, sorry. As I mentioned in the overview, it consists of the CPU, the central processing unit, to process the information, to either manipulate, to transfer the data, or to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Then there is an auxiliary memory to store the programs. Whatever operation is being performed, that is stored in the memory block here. Programming I/O equipment. I/O equipment is the equipment which is meant to input the data to the CPU. Then once the processing is done, you want to control. So that controlling is done through the communication interface, through various cables, or if it is wireless communication, through wireless communication, is controlling RTUs. These RTUs are nothing but remote terminal units. RTU, full form of RTU is remote terminal unit. That means your setup is somewhere and the controlling process, whatever you are controlling, it is at a different place. That is what is called as the remote controlling, right? So you are controlling some equipment, some manufacturing equipments at a distant place, at a far away place from the existing SCADA system. That is what is meant by the remote terminal units. Then we have display and control block to display the various signals. The controlling signals are displayed here on the, say it may be a display device, right? Such just like a oscilloscope to display the signal on the screen, various output signals. Hope this block diagram is clear, students. SCADA block diagram is clear. Any doubts here? SCADA block diagram. It is clear here. Block diagram of SCADA. Any questions here up till now? Yes, please. Any questions up till now? Clear, right? Yes. In this SCADA block diagram, any doubts, students? Any questions? Following, right? Yes. Yes or no? Following or not? Students?
Yes,
Following
sir.
or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Shall I move to the next one? Okay. Features of SCADA. What are the features or speciality of the SCADA? Alarm handling. I gave the example of emergency situation, wherein if there is any fault in the PLC, in the SCADA system, the alarm rings, the alarm goes, indicating that there is a fault and that has to be corrected immediately. Trend curves patterns, that is the various curves are available on the display device to indicate various process variables, control variables. Data access and retrieval, you can store the data in the memory, that is called as storing the data. If you are reading the data from the memory, that is called as retrieval. Retrieval means you are reading the data from the memory location, that is called as retrieval. Computer networking and processing, you are connecting your SCADA, right, through a network. It may be a network of optical fiber communication, or it may be some other means of communication, wireless communication. You are networking, you are connecting your SCADA to the various different blocks, to the various different manufacturing equipments which you want to control. That is called as networking. Then few of these SCADA softwares. Siemens, it manufactures WinCC. The SCADA software manufactured by Siemens is WinCC. Wonderware manufactures InTouch SCADA software, Rockwell AB, RSView, and General Electric GE. It manufactures SCADA software called as Simplicity. So these are a few of the SCADA softwares that are available in the public, in the industry. Then moving on to PLC, Programmable Logic Controller. As I had given just an overview of PLC. So these programmable logic controllers, full form of PLC is Programmable Logic Controller. They are widely used in the industrial process controlling technology. They are a rugged architecture system, a strong architecture system used in the industry to control various parameters. So it's an industry grade computer that is capable of being programmed to perform control functions. Then this PLC has eliminated the need of wiring of the relay logic. Before invention of PLC in the 1960s by the Modicon company, relays were used to control the various equipments. So these relays required wires to be drawn from one relay to another relay. Wires had to be connected. But this is not, say, the case with that of the PLC. In the PLC, there is no necessary to wire the devices. Okay, that is the advantage of the programmable logic controllers. So as you can see here, this is a PLC. I have collected the programmable logic controller. So how it looks like, the PLC. So these are your inputs, I1, I2, I3 up till I9. Okay, these are the various inputs. You are connecting the input signal, whichever you want to control, to these inputs. Okay, then the outputs are available here. These are the output terminals. You can see here, these are the output. It is written here, output terminals. You can collect the output from these terminals. Okay, so you are applying the input, you are obtaining the output. Once that output is obtained, you are controlling the different signals, industrial signals. And if you want to display those signals, whatever is happening, if you want to display them, then that is displaying is possible on this display device. Okay, if you just click on OK on this display device, you are able to display the various signals. Block diagram of PLC. We saw the block diagram of SCADA. Next is PLC block diagram. So it has a central processing unit, input module. Instead of just having the input in SCADA, it has input modules, certain modules to apply the input. Then at the output, there are certain modules to obtain the output and send it to the visual alarm. It may be a siren, a blinking siren, right? Just you have seen in the industry, or the siren which goes, right? It is a visual as well as the sound that appears. Okay, it is both. Then if it is only the sound, then it is a siren. A loudspeaker is used. Then a relay, if you want to control the other output devices, it is controlled through the output module, that is through the relay. The power supply, to apply the power, and energy that is required to operate this PLC, that is applied with the help of the power supply. Then if you want to store the programs, then that is done by the programming device. That is, if you are downloading the program from the computer into the CPU, in the memory of the CPU, you are executing that and you are able to control the output signals that you are connected at the output module of the PLC. Fine, students. So this is how the PLC block diagram is. As a push button switches, NO stands for normally open switch. Normally open switch means it is normally open. If you press it, it becomes closed and the current will flow. Push button, this is normally closed. It is normally closed. Right? If you press it, it operates in such a way that it opens up, it becomes normally open, and the current will be passing. So normally open switch and normally closed switches. So these are the various blocks of the PLC block diagram. Any difficulty here, students, in the PLC block diagram? I hope it is clear to you all. Okay. Now we went through certain instructions to perform a particular task, that is using the ladder diagram. That is one programming language, just like a C language. Another one is functional body diagram, right? And third one is functional description chart. These are the three popular programming languages to write a program for the PLCs, programmable logic controllers. PLCs are used in industrial control systems for a different types of controlling. They are used in industrial control systems for a wide variety of industries. Then advantages of PLCs. There are few advantages. PLCs are smaller in size, okay, and because of this, they require less space. They are highly reliable, okay. There are only 5% chances of defect or damage in the PLC. It is so much reliable and rugged. It is so much strong that it's so much rugged that there are only 5% chances of defect or damage in the PLCs. It is economical. The cost of installing the PLC is very less, and it can be immediately or within certain span of time the installation cost of the PLC can be recovered. Is energy saving if you consider the relay logic, right? And if you compare the relay logic with the PLC takes 1/10 of the power consumed as that of the relay logic. Suppose say a relay takes say 100 watts of power consumption, then the PLC will take just 10 watts to control the various signals. So that is the comparison between the PLC and the relays. They are flexible. It does not require any rewiring. If there is any change to be required, it can be easily implemented. If there is any rise in a problem, the programmable logic controller can hold up the running an operation for a long time. Just a minute. If there is any problem, the program disadvantages of PLC. If there is any problem, the programmable logic controller can hold up the running an operation for a longer time. If there's any problem that persists in the PLC, then that problem will remain for a longer time before its fault is detected and diagnosed. Okay, that is the disadvantage of the PLC. It's also difficult task of finding the errors. If there's any error, then it requires skillful person. Okay, skillful persons are required to debug the errors in the programmable logic controllers. Who all are the different manufacturers of PLCs? Allen Bradley, right? ABB. Anybody knows the full form of ABB? ABB company. Full form? Asia Brown Boveri. Correct? ABB. So one of the well-known company. Siemens, Mitsubishi PLC, Hitachi PLC, Delta PLC, GE, General Electric PLC, Honeywell PLC. These are few of the companies that manufacture the programmable logic controllers. Applications, there are various applications that are possible with the PLCs. It may be in the cement industry, in the glass industry, in the paper industry, right? Or in the pneumatic industries, in the hydraulic industries, process automation plants, such as in the oil and gas industry. Okay. So for example, if you consider the petroleum pipeline that is laid for transferring the petrol or the oil or the LPG from the sea level to the different places, okay, that is done by the PLCs. So these PLCs have so much accuracy that they are able to control the flow of the gas, LPG, or it may be a petroleum. Okay, so these fluids are controlled with high accuracy. You know that a slight leakage may cause a huge damage, is it not? So that is the amount of accuracy that is possible with the PLCs. So these are the few applications of PLCs. Now you may ask me why we have to go for a PLC. Suppose say you are controlling the bulb with a battery, right? You are controlling the on and off of the bulb with a battery, right? And then now if I want to turn on the bulb or turn off the bulb say after 30 seconds, okay, that is not done. It is not possible if I do it until I do it manually. correct? So this type of accuracy is possible with the PLCs. So what PLCs are able to do is they are maintaining a timer in their instructions. In the ladder diagram, there is a timer instruction, that is written with the ladder language, programming language, and that maintains the timing, and we can see that the bulb can be turned off after 30 seconds automatically. So that is possible with the PLCs. Lastly, coming to the field instruments, as I told, field instruments, they are meant to sense the signal, right? They are a combination of sensors, actuators. Actuators, you know that once you operate a switch, if it gets contact is closed, then it is actuated. We say that it is actuated. You may be familiar with the actuators. Intelligent signal processing and robust communications. All these are combined and they operate in very harsh environments, right? Like extreme temperature conditions, extreme wet conditions, extreme dry conditions, vibrations. So under these conditions, these instruments operate. So these field instruments are required to capture and interpret data that is communicated. They are not only meant to sense the signal, they capture the signal, acquire the signal, and interpret the data that is communicated. If you are communicating the data to some display device, you are able to check how much is the value of that signal with the help of the field instruments. So that is possible with the field instruments. Okay. So students, that's all for today's class. I began with the overview of the syllabus. I began with the overview of the syllabus, right? And then we have gone through the various slides, starting with the automation. What is automation, right? What are the various applications of automation, where all it is used, advantages, disadvantages of automation, then which are the components. Finally, again coming to the PLC, SCADA, and field instruments. SCADA, what is SCADA? Then what is SCADA block diagram? Features of SCADA. SCADA softwares manufactured by various companies. PLC, programmable logic controller. Its features. I have shown a figure to show you how the PLC will look like. Block diagram of the PLC. Then few of the features or tasks performed by the PLCs, their advantages, disadvantages. Then manufacturers of PLCs. PLCs manufactured by various companies, well-known reputed companies. Applications of PLC. Number of applications are available that the PLC can handle. Field instruments. What are field instruments and what is their ability? Okay. So any questions here, students? I hope everybody have understood. Any questions here? Yes, please. Students, any questions? You want to ask anything? Yes, please. Any questions here? Saval, Harsh, Harsh.
No, sir.
Any doubts? Any questions?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Vaibhav Ingle. Any questions, Vaibhav? Yes, please. Any questions? Okay. Anupam Yelkoti. Anupam.
No, sir, no.
Understood today's discussion.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay. Then if you are having any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we can wind it up. Any interactions, any discussions, any doubts? Okay. Then we'll continue in the next class that I'll be taking on Friday. Okay. So we'll continue with the next topics on Friday. Right? Thank you. Okay, fine. Yes. Fine, fine. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you.